Hi. So let's talk finals. So the Mavericks are heading into the NBA Finals alongside the Boston Celtics. You guys are probably wondering what my name is. My name is Jason Wilson. Welcome to the channel. Today we are talking about the Boston Celtics versus the Dallas Mavericks in the NBA Finals, which happens actually tonight. So this video is being made at 5:36. So depending on how good my editing skills have gotten over time, we're gonna find out what happens. So moving on. So this is basically what's going to happen today. So Dallas is coming off a 5-game series against the Minnesota Timberwolves, which everyone thought was going to be possibly a 7-game series in Timberwolves' hands. And basically, I guess the metaphor for these past few series of Luka has been, Luka, is never doubt on Luka Doncic, let alone Kyrie Irving. And if you've never counted Kyrie out, awesome, you're up right now. But if you've been counting Kyrie out, even if he hasn't been in, this man has been a bucket for the Mavericks ever since he just joined last year. And the fact that they've been able to work out 2 ball-dominant guards together is such an amazing feat, if you really think about it. Because I've never thought of a better backcourt ever to be assembled. And I get people can also say, Curry and Clay. But I feel like that's the only other example. I could be totally wrong. Someone could tell me in the comments if there's someone that I'm completely forgetting, a point guard, 2-guard duo that I'm forgetting about. But the fact that the MVP and Kyrie Irving are on the same team, yes, I believe that Luka or Shai should have won it, mainly because the two of them were doing a lot better, and I thought voter fatigue might have kicked in for Jokic, but that man's unstoppable. Let's be for real. It doesn't matter how slow he moves. He makes basketball buckets every single time. So the question is really about the Celtics. Now, the Celtics are about to head into their second finals in the past, 10 years, which is pretty good for them, despite them having a fantastic roster every single year. And I'm putting all my bias aside for not liking, but that's the best way I could describe it. Not necessarily always liking the Celtics. And I know a lot of people don't really want the Celtics to win this whatsoever because they've had this team for years. And it's almost like the definition of insanity. You go at the same thing over and over and over again, accepting a different result. Now, yeah, there's been some different results. They're making the playoffs. You can't deny that, but is anything happening, really? They made the finals twice in the past 10 years. In the past 10 years? That's insane. And they came up short to Curry and the Warriors at that time, back in 2021. I could be totally wrong. Jay, check me in post. It might be 2021. I'm totally destroyed if I got that wrong. But you keep that all in mind, and this team is so good. This Celtics team is really good and is unstoppable ever since they made the trade for Kristaps and Drew Holiday. I want to say Drew Holiday, I think, was a bigger, and I mean a big change to the Celtics, because they've been looking for a non-dominant ball guard who is able to play defense specifically really, really well. I mean, they've had Smart, but ever since they got rid of him, they needed to make a change, which they quickly made that change, to be honest. And then the addition of Kristaps is also big, because they also have a more proficient 3-point scoring and scoring big, who's now used as a fourth option, which is kind of crazy to say. And we can't talk about how good the Celtics have been without mentioning their star two-guard, Derek White. Derek White has been phenomenal for this team in the entirety of the playoffs. I think him and Jaylen Brown have been the stars of the Celtics this whole playoffs, no doubt. No doubt in my mind whatsoever. And I think when it comes down to it, I think if the Celtics win, the Finals MVP is not going to be in Jason Tatum's hands. And I think that's what's going to bother a lot of people. Because the Celtics are named as Jason Tatum's team. And he's been in the league for 7 years. This is his 7th season now. And there's really not too much to show. He has an All-Star MVP, which that year, really, there wasn't that much competition as it used to be. The last time there was competition was 2020, when they brought in the 24-point rule. The year after that, it wasn't necessarily the best. But Tatum has been playing not the best minutes. He hasn't been shooting necessarily the best. He also is not the best player on his team, and there is no doubt in that when you look at statistics especially. He is playing about 40-plus minutes a game in games where he should be playing really only 30. But I feel like the Celtics were trying to say, oh yeah, he deserves Finals MVP because he's Jason Tatum. But I don't think that was necessarily going to be the case whatsoever, because Tatum hasn't been playing like he does during the regular season. During the regular season, he was top 5 in MVP voting and averaging 20 plus a game, I think, along with close to 10 rebounds, 6 assists, and he was doing fantastic during the regular season. Top 5 in MVP. He obviously wasn't going to be my MVP favorite whatsoever, but when it came down to it, he was playing really good basketball. He was being fantastic, and then we head into the playoffs. Sadly, as per usual, he kind of just drops entirely, which is now sort of like a norm that people sort of expect from him. So when people see this, and they see this team that should have been winning for the past probably 6, maybe less, 4 years, or at least repeating finals appearances, it's kind of like, it's overdue. It's overdue, no doubt. And people can tell that the Eastern Conference Finals was really a cakewalk for both teams. I will not deny that. And I hear always the argument, oh, what's the point of first seed? Yes. Celtics got the first seed, but it would have been better games and harder competition and a longer series if players were healthy. And we can't control that, obviously, but it is what it is. So we'll never get a fully healthy Cavs series, which probably would have went to 6 or 7 with Donovan Mitchell and Jared Allen. And we never got a great Knicks series, or like a better Knicks series from the Pacers, because the Knicks were unhealthy. They had like 7 guys out by the end of the series, which was insane. And a lot of people thought it was going to be the next year's. It was looking like a Knicks Timberwolves finals, mid-second round, I want to say. And it would have been a dream come true, because we would see 2 teams that haven't won. Well, Timberwolves haven't won years ever. And the Knicks haven't won in years, since like, the 80s? I want to say off the top of my head, they haven't won since the 80s, which is insane. Which is a big money team. It hasn't won in years. So when you look at that, we're blow by that. Blow by whatever I just said. We're talking about the finals here. Because East have had such a cakewalk. West, it's been a battle. It's been a war. I've seen the memes go down where you see the Army guy in the helmet and it's Luka Doncic, his face over it, along with a bunch of other players in the background. And I've also seen the whole Tatum's in Candyland while Luka is fighting through the fiery pits of HE double hockey sticks. So it's been a really tough run for the Mavericks, and I think the idea of that they are more, the word is battle hardened, they'll be able to take this series entirely, and I think this is going to be 100% a 6 to 7 game series. My guess is going to be Mavericks, mainly because you can't doubt on Luka Doncic. I hope that doesn't really, go against me. But I think we are going to see one of two teams crown championships. And that sounds super dumb, but it's the truth. We're going to see either Jason Tatum with a ring, or we're going to see Luka Doncic enter a conversation of possibly, I might have to say, a top 100 player. And I mean, like, obviously, we're, 24 years away from that? But we're going to see Luka enter a conversation of possibly top 50 all time. If he wins a championship. Along with Kyrie. Kyrie, I feel like, he's already top 75. But I think they can make names for themselves within this series. And it will truly put something on both of their legacies. For Tatum, this is going to have an asterisk, mainly because of the build-up to the finals. And that's really the tough thing about, history repeating itself. We have a huge underdog in the Mavericks right now. And it's exciting to see. They've been the underdogs in every single series, it feels like. No one believed in them, but Luka is Luka, and he's got everything to prove to us every single time. So it's exciting to watch this game tonight and see what Dallas does against the Celtics, or see what the Celtics do against the Mavericks. Because ever since the Mavericks made that trade for their two new bigs, Daniel Gafford, along with PJ Washington, I apologize. I had a little brain fart moment. But ever since they made that trade and a bunch of other trades, by deadline, they have become the best defense in the league, which is insane to say. They became number one in defense over that time because of that trade. And I've sort of always had this feeling about the Mavericks, is that Luka wasn't necessarily always one piece away. He wasn't like a superstar away. Now that he's with Kyrie, you can say, oh yes, this is the person that he needed. I'm not saying Kyrie is the exact person that he needed. I'm saying that he needed like a number two guy at the least, right? A guaranteed second option that was going to get him buckets, or at least a really good off-ball player. Like Kyrie's good on and off the ball, which is amazing. But, Luka's a better on-ball player. What he needed was always a big. And we expected a lot of Porzingis when he was with the Mavericks. Obviously, it didn't work out, which sucks. Because people thought it was going to be the next big duo, especially of Europeans. But when you look at it now, the Mavericks have two great defensive bigs that were on poor performing teams. So they're used to fighting in the mud and barely getting out. You have Daniel Gafford, who was catching Kyle Kuzma and Jordan Poole's rebounds and fighting for his life in the paint. And then you have PJ Washington, who has been fighting for his life in Charlotte for the past few years in playing for the Hornets, right? Where they've been sort of good, bad, ugly, whatever the situation may be for them at that time. The truth is, don't doubt on Luka, because I'm noticing my time's going. Don't doubt on Luka, because rain's gonna fall when he comes after the Celtics. So, yeah, that's my little take. I seriously believe that Dallas has a chance to take Game 1. I feel like it's very 50-50, because both these teams definitely deserve to be in the finals, and one is more earned, one is overdue. And that's about it for me. So please like, subscribe, hit notifications, whatever you want to do. Please show support. I know this is like one of my first videos, secondary to my interview with my brother. But please, leave a like. Leave a like. Simple. All right? I'll see you later.